Chapter 3, Efficiency and Calculability. This chapter deals with two of the four basic dimensions of McDonaldization: efficiency and calculability. Efficiency. Drive, throughs and finger foods. Efficiency is perhaps the dimension of McDonaldization, most often linked to the seeming increase in the pace of contemporary life. Increasing efficiency is behind just in-time production, faster service, streamlined operations, and tight schedules everywhere, from the workplace to Disney World to the home. Efficiency is generally a good thing. It is clearly advantageous to consumers who are able to obtain what they need more quickly with less effort. Similarly, efficient workers are able to perform their tasks more rapidly and easily. Managers and owners gain because more work gets done, more customers are served, and greater profits are earned. But as is the case with McDonaldization in general, and each of its dimensions, irrationalities such as surprising inefficiencies and the dehumanization of workers and customers emerge from the drive for increased efficiency. Efficiency means choosing the optimum means to a given end. However, the truly optimum means to an end is rarely found. People and organizations rarely maximize because they are hampered by such factors as the constraints of history, financial circumstances, organizational realities, and the limitations of human nature. Nevertheless, organizations continue to strive for maximization in the hope that they will at least increase their efficiency. In a McDonaldized society, a people rarely search for the best means to an end on their own. Rather, they rely on previously discovered and institutionalized means. Thus, when people start a new job, they are not expected to figure out for themselves how to do the work most efficiently. Instead, they undergo training designed to teach them what has been discovered over time to be the most efficient way of doing the work. Once on the job, people may discover little tricks that help them perform the task more efficiently, and these days, they are encouraged to pass this information on to management so that all workers performing that task can perform a bit more efficiently. In this way, over time, efficiency 7 productivity gradually increases. In fact, much of the economic boom in the late 20th and early 21st centuries was attributed to dramatic increases in efficiency and productivity that permitted growth with little inflation. Even after the onset of the Great Recession beginning in late 2007, efficiency increased, but this time as employers discovered ways of producing as much or more with fewer and fewer employees. Although the fast food restaurant certainly did not create the yearning for efficiency, it has helped turn efficiency into an increasingly universal reality. Many sectors of society have had to change to operate in the efficient manner demanded by those accustomed to life in the drive through lane of the fast food restaurant. While many manifestations of efficiency can be traced directly to the influence of the fast food restaurant, many more of them predate and helped shape the fast food restaurant. Nonetheless, they all play a part in the preoccupation with efficiency fueled by McDonaldization. Streamlining the process above all else. Ray Kroc was impressed by the efficiency of the McDonald brothers' operation, as well as the enormous profit potential of such a system applied at a large number of restaurant sites. Here is how Kroc described his initial reactions to the McDonald's system. I was fascinated by the simplicity and effectiveness of the system. Each step in producing the limited menu was stripped down to its essence and accomplished with a minimum of effort. They sold hamburgers and cheeseburgers only. The burgers were all fried the same way. But Kroc's obsession with streamlined processes predated his discovery of McDonald's. When he was selling blenders to restaurants, he was disturbed by the restaurant's lack of efficiency. There was inefficiency, waste, and temperamental cooks, sloppy service, and food whose quality was never consistent. What was needed was a simple product that moved from start to completion in a streamlined path. Italics added. Kroc toyed with other alternatives for streamlining the restaurant meal before settling on the McDonald's hamburger as a model of efficiency. He had contemplated hot dogs, then rejected the idea. There were too many kinds of hot dogs. There were all sorts of different ways of cooking hot dogs: boiled, broiled, rôtisseried, charcoaled. Hamburgers were simplicity itself. The condiments were added to the hamburger, not built in. And there was only one way to prepare the hamburger: to grill it. Kroc and his associates experimented with each component of the hamburger to increase the efficiency of producing and serving it. For example, they started with partially sliced buns that arrived in cardboard boxes. But the griddle workers had to spend time opening the boxes, separating the buns, slicing them in half, and discarding the leftover paper and cardboard. Eventually, McDonald's found that buns sliced completely in half, separated, and shipped in reusable boxes could be used more efficiently. The meat patty received similar attention. For example, the paper between the patties had to have just the right amount of wax so that the patties would readily slide off the paper and onto the grill. Kroc's goal in these innovations was greater efficiency. The purpose of all these refinements, was to make our griddle man's job easier to do quickly and well. And the other considerations of cost-cutting, inventory control, and so forth were important to be sure, but they were secondary to what happened there at the smoking griddle. This was the vital passage of our assembly line, and the product had to flow through it smoothly, or the whole plant would falter. Italics added. To this day, efficiency remains the focus at McDonald's. For example, at a Washington, D.C. McDonald's, the workers labored with an assembly line efficiency. The fast food industry, speeding the way from secretion to excretion today. All fast food restaurants prepare their menu items on a kind of assembly line involving a number of people in specialized operations, such as the burger dresser. The ultimate application of the assembly line to the fast food processes. As pointed out in the preceding chapter, Burger King's conveyor belt. Above and below the conveyor were two flames. Burgers were placed in this mesh, and they moved along the belt at a pre-set speed, were cooked on both sides simultaneously by the two flames, and then spilled out the other end into holding trays. Then there is Domino's system. Lonnie Lane starts slapping and saucing, kneading and tossing the dough, and then spooning the proper measure of sauce on it. He slides the tray down, and Victor Luna starts reaching for the toppings. A dozen bins are arrayed in front of him: cheese, pepperoni, green pepper. Luna sprinkles stuff over the tray by the handful. He eases the tray onto a conveyor belt that takes it through a 12-foot oven in 6 minutes. The store manager is dispatching waiting drivers, and waiting drivers are folding pizza boxes. The crew chief and quality controller slices it with a pizza wheel and slides it into a box that already bears a computer label with the customer's address. Similar techniques are employed throughout the fast Food industry. To take one other example, many Krispy Kreme shops are factory stores where the donuts are produced using a highly efficient conveyor belt system. The donuts produced in this way are sold in the factory stores and shipped to Krispy Kreme outlets without such factories, as well as to supermarkets and other locations where the donuts are sold. Getting diners into and out of the fast food restaurant has also been streamlined. McDonald's has done everything to speed the process. Parking lots adjacent to the restaurant offer readily available parking spots. It's a short walk to the counter, and although customers sometimes have to wait in line, they can usually quickly order, obtain, and pay for their food. The highly limited menu makes the diner's choice easy, in contrast to the many choices available in other restaurants. Satellite and express locations are even more streamlined. With the food obtained, it is but a few steps to a table and the beginning of the dining experience. With little inducement to linger, diners generally eat quickly, gather the leftover paper, styrofoam, and plastic, discard them in a nearby trash receptacle, and get back in their cars to drive to the next, often McDonaldized activity. Those in charge of fast food restaurants discovered that the drive-through window made this whole process far more efficient. Instead of requiring diners to undergo the laborious and inefficient process of parking the car, walking to the counter, waiting in line, ordering, paying, carrying the food to the table, eating, and disposing of the remnants, the drive-through window offered diners the streamlined option of driving to the window and driving off with the meal. Diners could eat while driving if they wanted to be even more efficient. The drive-through window is also efficient for the fast food restaurant. As more and more people use the drive-through window, fewer parking spaces, tables, and employees are needed. Furthermore, consumers take their debris with them as they drive away, thereby reducing the need for trash receptacles and employees to empty those receptacles periodically. Modern technology offers further advances in streamlining. Here is a description of some of the increased efficiency at a Taco Bell in California. Inside, diners in a hurry for tacos and burritos can punch up their own orders on a touch-screen computer. Outside, drive-through customers see a video monitor flash back a list of their orders to avoid mistakes. They then can pay using a pneumatic tube, like those many banks employ for drive-up transactions. Their food and their change are waiting for them when they pull forward to the pickup window, and if the line of cars grows too long, a Taco Bell worker will wade in with a wireless keyboard to take orders. Similarly, McDonald's is planning to use such touch screens in Europe to streamline the process of ordering and paying for food by eliminating counter people and cashiers. To further increase efficiency, an increasing number of fast food restaurants are accepting credit and debit cards. Home cooking, sen, and related phenomena. I don't have time to cook. In the early 1950s, the dawn of the era of the fast food restaurant, the major alternative to fast food was the home-cooked meal, made mostly from ingredients purchased beforehand at various local stores and early supermarkets. This was clearly a more efficient way of preparing meals than earlier methods, such as hunting game and gathering fruits and vegetables. Cookbooks also made a major contribution to efficient home cooking. Instead of inventing a dish every time a meal was prepared, the cook could follow a recipe and thus more efficiently produce the dish. Soon, The widespread availability of the home freezer led to the expanded production of frozen foods. The most efficient frozen food was ENS, and for some still is the TV dinner. Swanson created its first TV dinner, its meal, in a box, in 1953 and sold 25 million of them in the first year. The large freezer also permitted other efficiencies, such as making a few trips to the market for enormous purchases, rather than making many trips for small ones. Meals from the freezer began to seem comparatively inefficient, however, with the advent of microwavable meals. Microwaves usually cook faster than other ovens, and people can prepare a wider array of foods in them. Perhaps most important, microwave ovens spawned a number of food products, including microwavable soup, pizza, hamburgers, fried chicken, French fries, and popcorn reminiscent of the fair people have learned to love in fast food restaurants. For example, one of the first microwavable foods produced by Hormel was an array of biscuit-based breakfast sandwiches popularized by McDonald's with its Egg McMuffin. As one executive put it, "Instead of having a breakfast sandwich at McDonald's, you can pick one up from the freezer of your grocery store." In some ways, homemade fast foods seem more efficient than the versions offered by fast food restaurants. Instead of getting into the car, driving to the restaurant, and returning home, people need only pop their favorite foods into the microwave. However, the microwaved meal requires a prior trip to the market. Supermarkets have long been loaded with other kinds of products that increase efficiency for those who want to cook at home. Instead of starting from scratch, the cook can use prepackaged mixes to make homemade cakes, pies, pancakes, waffles, and many other foods. In fact, entire meals are now available right out of the box. Dinty Moore's classic bakes are entire casserole dinners, e.g., beef stew and biscuits, for 4 to 5 people, and promise to be hot and hearty, quick and convenient, ready in minutes. An increasingly important competitor is the fully cooked meal consumers may now buy at the supermarket. People can merely stop on the way home and purchase prepackaged main courses and even entire meals, which they prepare by unwrapping the packages. No cooking required. The McDonaldization of food preparation and consumption also encompasses the booming diet industry. Losing weight is normally difficult and time-consuming, but diet books promise to make it easier and quicker. The preparation of low-calorie food has also been streamlined. Instead of cooking diet foods from scratch, dieters may now purchase an array of prepared foods in frozen or microwavable form. Those who do not wish to go through the inefficient process of eating these diet meals can consume products such as diet shakes and bars to slim fast, for example, in a matter of seconds. Dieters seeking even greater efficiency have access to various pills that expedite weight loss. The now banned fen, and the still available Xenical. Then there is cosmetic surgery and even more radical and invasive steps such as gastric bypass surgery. The issue of dieting points to new efficiencies outside the home as well. That is, to the growth of diet centers such as Jenny Craig, Nutrisystem, Weight Watchers, and Curves, sent really an exercise center with a highly efficient 30-minute workout. There are now even a large number of apps available on smartphones dealing with weight loss and health that can be accessed easily and that make weight loss even more efficient. Nutrisystem sells dieters at substantial cost prepackaged freeze-dried food. Shopping, creating ever more efficient selling machines. shopping for all kinds of goods and services, not just food, has also been streamlined. The department store obviously is a more efficient place in which to shop than a series of specialty shops dispersed throughout the city or suburbs. The shopping mall increases efficiency by bringing a wide range of department stores and specialty shops under one roof. It is cost-efficient for retailers because the collection of shops and department stores brings in throngs of people. Mall synergy. And it is efficient for consumers because, in one stop, they can visit numerous shops, have lunch at a food court, if likely populated by many fast food chains, see a movie, have a drink, and go to an exercise or diet center. The drive for shopping efficiency did not end with the malls. 7-Eleven and its clones, for example, Circle K, AM's PM, and Wawa, have become drive-up, if not drive-through, mini-markets. For those who need only a few items, pulling up to a highly streamlined 7-Eleven more than 42,000 locations worldwide is far more efficient, albeit more costly than running into a supermarket. Shoppers have no need to park in a large lot, obtain a cart, wheel through myriad aisles in search of needed items, wait in lines at the checkout, and then tote purchases back to a sometimes distant car. At 7-Eleven, they can park right in front and quickly find what they need. Like the fast food restaurant, which offers a highly circumscribed menu, 7-Eleven has sought to fill its shops with a limited array of commonly sought goods: bread, milk, cigarettes, aspirin, even videos, and self-serve items such as hot coffee, hot dogs, microwaved sandwiches, cold soda, and Slurpees. 7-Eleven's efficiency stems from the fact that it ordinarily sells only one brand of each item, with many items unobtainable. Even more efficient are the quick and convenient brew-throughs, a small chain based primarily in North Carolina. Customers simply drive into a brew-through, which is set up like a garage lined on both sides with many convenience store products, especially beer, sex, including kegs and wine. An attendant comes out to the car to take your order, brings you what you want, takes your money, and you are back on the road in no time. For greater selection, consumers must go to the relatively inefficient supermarket. Of course, supermarkets have sought to make shopping more efficient by institutionalizing automated self-checkout lanes and 15-item limit, no checks, accepted lines for consumers who might otherwise frequent the convenience stores. People who do not feel that they have the time to visit the mall are able to shop from the comfort of their homes through catalogs. For example, LL Bean or Land's End, made more efficient these days by being available online. Another alternative to visiting the mall is home television shopping. The efficiency of shopping via catalogs and TV is increased even further with express package delivery systems, such as Federal Express and UPS. The internet is the most important factor in greatly increased shopping efficiency. For example, instead of traveling to a book superstore, a dying as evidenced by the 2011 bankruptcy and closing of all Borders superstores and the difficulties being experienced by Barnes & Noble, or wandering from one small bookshop, also dying to another, you can access Amazon. Come in millions of different titles at your fingertips. After selecting and charging the titles you want, you just sit back and wait for the books to be delivered to your door, usually within a day or two. The advent of e-books and e-readers such as Amazon's Kindle has made shopping for books infinitely more efficient, since the books are now ordered and downloaded almost instantaneously. In fact, for the first time, Amazon sold more books via Kindle in 2011 than it did both hardcover and paperback print books. Of course, there are innumerable other internet sites, e.g., Overstock.com, where one can efficiently shop for virtually anything. Then there is eBay.com, which allows buyers and sellers to deal with one another in a highly efficient manner. Virtual pharmacies allow people to obtain prescription drugs without seeing a physician. Consultations with online doctors are also available via, for example, Health Nation. An often overlooked aspect of the efficiency of cyber shopping is that it can be done while you are at work. Although employers are likely to feel that shopping from work adversely affects worker efficiency, it is certainly very efficient from the perspective of the worker-consumer. Of course, the drive to make internet shopping ever more efficient continues. There are now shopping robots, or online comparison services, that automatically surf the web for specific products, lowest prices, and shortest delivery dates. For example, Google.com has Google Product Search. Browse by category, apparel, computers, flowers, whatever, or enter a query term, and it will present a list of matching products, each with a thumbnail sketch on the left and description, price, and retailer on the right. However, it has now become even more efficient just to go to Amazon.com, which has virtually everything one might want at competitive prices and without the need for online comparison price services. All types of shopping, but particularly ordering from distant merchants, have become far more efficient with the widespread use of credit cards. Higher education. Just fill in the box in the contemporary university, and now often dubbed McUniversity. Efficiency is to be found. For example, the machine-graded, multiple-choice examination. In a much earlier era, students were examined individually in conference with their professors. Later, the essay examination became popular. Grading a set of essays was more efficient than giving individual oral examinations, but it was still relatively time-consuming. Enter the multiple-choice examination, the grading of which was a snap. In fact, graduate assistants could grade it, making evaluation of students even more efficient for the professor. Computer-graded examinations maximize efficiency for both professors and graduate assistants. The computerized Blackboard system has added still greater efficiencies. For example, it eliminates the need for professors to reproduce and distribute materials to class. It also makes it possible to take exams online rather than in class. Furthermore, Blackboard grades the exams, adds them to the grade book, and even calculates a final grade. Other innovations in academia have further streamlined the educational process. Instead of professors composing multiple-choice questions, publishers provide digital, online sets of questions. Another advance is computer-based programs to grade essay examinations and even term papers. Professors can now choose to have very little to do with the entire examination process. From composing questions to grading, freeing up time for activities that many professors, but few students, value more highly, such as writing and research. Publishers have provided other services to streamline teaching for those professors who adopt best-selling textbooks, including lecture outlines, PowerPoints, text-related websites, computer simulations, discussion questions, DVDs, movies, and ideas for guest lecturers and student projects. Professors who choose to use all these devices need do little or nothing on their own for their classes. Students are also increasingly able to be more efficient in class by using their laptops and smartphones to multitask in various ways. This can be educationally beneficial when it involves doing Google searches during a lecture, but it can have adverse effects when students are playing games online, writing on someone's Facebook wall, or texting on their smartphones. Also worth noting is Rate My Professors.com, where students can efficiently evaluate their professors as well as find ratings by other students. Wikipedia has become an efficient source of information for both professors and students. There was a time when most professors were critical of the use of Wikipedia, but more and more have come to embrace it. They use it themselves and allow, even encourage, their students to use it. One other academic efficiency worth noting is the ability of students to purchase already completed term papers online. A variety of websites now promise to deliver original, customized research papers on any topic for a low fee of, say, $8.99 per page. You could send, although it is not advised, purchase a 3+ page paper on McDonaldization on one website for $19.95. Websites even have quick service and express delivery available at $14.99 per page if you need the paper in 48 hours, for those students who have put off academic dishonesty to the last moment. Beware, however, for there are also other websites, e.g., Turnitin.com, that help professors detect plagiarism, thereby combating student gains in efficiency through plagiarism with an efficient system to detect it. Healthcare.docs. In a box, it might be assumed that modern medicine is immune to the drive for efficiency and invulnerable to rationalization more generally. However, medicine has been McDonaldized. One example is Dr. Denton Cooley as his fetish is efficiency, who gained worldwide fame for streamlining delicate open heart surgery in a heart surgery factory that operated with the precision of an assembly line. Even more striking is the following description of the Moscow Research Institute of Eye Microsurgery, which promises on its website efficient therapy of most serious ophthalmic diseases. In many ways, the scene resembles any modern factory. A conveyor glides silently past 5 workstations, periodically stopping, then starting again. Each station is staffed by an attendant in a sterile mask and smock. The workers have just 3 minutes to complete their tasks before the conveyor moves on. They turn out 20 finished pieces in an hour. Nearly everything else about the assembly line, however, is highly unusual. The workers are eye surgeons, and the conveyor carries human beings on stretchers. This is where the production methods of Henry Ford are applied to the practice of medicine, a medical factory for the production of people with good eyesight. Such assembly lines are not yet the norm in medicine, but one can imagine that they will grow increasingly common in the coming years. While not quite done on an assembly line, I had laser eye surgery in 2011, done on the basis of a system that is very close to it. 10 patients requiring the same operation were told to report at a given hour, ushered into a room, and told to sit in a specific place in a line of chairs. On several occasions, assistants went down the line, putting various drops into the eye that was to be operated on. When the surgeon arrived, each patient was hustled, in order of his or her position in the line of chairs, into another room, told by another assistant to place his or her chin on a chin rest on the laser machine, and soon heard a series of zapping sounds. When the sound stopped and the surgery was completed, the patients were dismissed and ushered back to their original seats. When all 10 patients had their surgery, Each in turn was brought back to the room where the surgery was performed, although by this time the surgeon was long gone. Other assistants checked the eye to be sure the surgery was successful, and if it was, the patient was told he or she could leave. Also increasing is the use of robots to perform advanced forms of surgery. Perhaps the best known is the Da Vinci system that is revolutionizing various forms of surgery, e.g. for prostate cancer. This minimally invasive system not only makes an operation more efficient, but also makes the process more efficient from a patient's point of view. Because only small incisions are made, hospital stays are reduced to perhaps a day, and postoperative recovery time is relatively brief. Perhaps the best example of the increasing efficiency of medical practice in the United States is the growth of walk-in, walk-out surgical or emergency centers such as DR and when ready walk-in medical care clinics in New York City. M-doctors, or docs in a box, serve patients who want highly efficient medical care. Each center handles only a limited number of minor problems, but with great dispatch. Although stitching a patient with a minor laceration cannot be done as efficiently as serving a customer a hamburger, many of the same principles apply. For instance, it is more efficient for the patient to walk in without an appointment than to make an appointment with a regular physician and wait until that time arrives. For a minor emergency, such as a slight laceration, walking through a McDonald's is more efficient than working your way through a large hospital's emergency room. Hospitals are set up to handle serious problems for which efficiency is not yet the norm. Although some hospitals already employ specialized emergency room physicians and teams of medical personnel, docs in a box are also more efficient than private doctors' offices because they are not structured to permit the kind of personals and therefore inefficient attention patients expect from their private physicians. A more recent development is minute clinics found in pharmacies, e.g. CVSs, and even in supermarkets, discounters, and big box stores. These may be staffed by nurse practitioners and physician assistants and offer efficient help in the case of minor medical matters. It has become increasingly common to get flu shots in a neighborhood pharmacy or supermarket, and perhaps offered near the meat department and by a butcher. Just kidding. Entertainment. Moving people and trash efficiently. Many people no longer deem it efficient to trek to their local theater to see a movie. For a time, DVDs and the stores that rented them boomed. Blockbuster, at one time the largest video rental firm in the United States, considered itself the McDonald's of the video business. However, Blockbuster went bankrupt in late 2010. The video rental business was transformed by more efficient alternatives. Blockbuster Express now has thousands of video rental machines at Redbox, once owned by McDonald's, is another major player in this area. However, this pales in comparison to the streaming of movies from companies such as Netflix. A Blockbuster has a similar system, as do Amazon, and iTunes, or even streaming them free, either legally or illegally. Then there are the pay-per-view movies offered by many cable companies, and there is Hulu, which allows people to download, for a fee, any of its catalog of current primetime TV shows, classic TV programs, movies, documentaries, and so on. These can be viewed not only at home, but on a variety of mobile systems. DVRs and TiVo permit customers to record their favorite shows while they are watching something else, or to rewind or pause live television. For those not satisfied with just a single offering, there is Picture in a Picture, which enables them to view a movie while also watching a favorite TV show on an inset on the screen. Then there are the satellite networks that allow you to watch several football games at once. With the IKEAization network's Red Zone, one is able to watch all games when the ball is within the opponent's 20-yard line. Another sort of efficiency in the entertainment world is the system for moving people developed by modern amusement parks, particularly Disneyland and Walt Disney World. A system of roads filters thousands of cars each day into the appropriate parking lots. Jitneys whisk visitors to the gates of the park. Once in the park, they find themselves in a vast line of people on what is, in effect, a huge conveyor belt that leads them from one ride or attraction to another. Once they actually reach an attraction, a conveyance such as a car, boat, submarine plane, rocket, or moving walkway moves them rapidly through and out of the attraction. Disney World has been victimized by its own success. Even its highly efficient systems cannot handle the hordes that descend on the park at the height of the tourist season. Since 1999, Disney has sought to deal with this problem with its FES-TPAS system that allows a visitor to arrange a specific time to be at a given attraction and to enter via a separate and much faster moving FES-TPAS line. Of course, there are limits on the number of FES passes that can be issued. It would be self-defeating if every visitor used a FES-TAS for every trip to every attraction. There are still long lines at Disney resorts, and even the fast TAS lines may not be so fast. People are not the only things Disney World must process efficiently. The throngs that frequent such amusement parks eat a great deal, sit mostly fast food, especially finger foods, and therefore generate an enormous amount of trash. If Disney World emptied trash receptacles only at the end of each day, the barrels would be overflowing most of the time. To prevent this eyesore, and it must be prevented since order and cleanliness, some would say sterility, are key components of the McDonaldized world in general and Disney World in particular. Hordes of employees constantly sweep, collect, and empty trash. To take a specific example, bringing up the rear in the nightly Disney parade is a group of cleaners who almost instantly dispose of whatever trash and animal droppings have been left behind. Within a few minutes, they have eliminated virtually all signs that a parade has just passed by. Disney World also employs an elaborate system of underground tubes. Garbage receptacles are emptied into this system, which whisks the trash away at about 60 miles per hour to a central trash disposal plant far from the view of visitors. Disney World is a magic kingdom in more ways than one. Here is the way one observer compares another of the modern, highly rational amusement parks, Busch Gardens, to ancestors such as county fairs and Coney Island. Gone is the dusty midway. In its place is a vast, self-contained environment, endowed with the kind of efficiency beyond the reach of most cities. Online and smartphone dating. Show your interest with just a wink. For young people, dating has become dated, inefficient in an era in which they can simply hang out together. However, hanging out becomes less possible as people grow a bit older. Dating is a highly inefficient process that has been streamlined as a result of the internet and the ability to find and make dates on online services such as Harmony. Common match. For those who are more interested in sex than the less efficient process of dating, there are sites such as Adult Friend Finder. and Craigslist casual encounters. With a single click, one can find men or women within a specified age group and a given distance from one's zip code, no long, unnecessary trips needed. Keywords are provided on the site, e.g., charming, energetic, making it easier to find a particular kind of person. It is possible to scroll quickly through hundreds of profiles of potential dates who meet given criteria. Once a profile of interest is located, a simple click indicates a wink at a potential date. Other clicks can organize potential dates into a favorites list so that, if one possibility does not pan out, another can be located quickly and contacted. If a date is chosen, it is likely that sooner or later, the relationship will not work out. Once that happens, it is possible to block the spurned suitor's access to one's profile. Best of all, a person can be back on the dating scene in an instant with a plethora of alternatives on the website or on one's favorites list. Even more recent and efficient is the use of smartphones and mobile dating services, relevant apps, and geo-locating technology to find a date. This can be done on the go. One no longer needs to be tied to a computer. As a result, dates can be arranged even more quickly and efficiently. Other settings: 10 steps to spiritual maturity, modern health clubs, including chains such as Bali Total Fitness, Gold's Gym, and 24-Hour Fitness, also strongly emphasize efficiency. These clubs often offer virtually everything needed to lose weight and stay in shape, including exercise machines, a running track, and a swimming pool. The exercise machines are highly specialized so that people can efficiently work specific areas of the body. Running machines, stairmasters, elliptical runners, and recumbent spinacres increase cardiovascular fitness. Weight lifting machines increase strength and muscularity in targeted areas of the body. Many machines keep track of exactly how many calories are being burned away. People can watch TV, read, or listen to music while working out. Other examples of streamlining to increase efficiency abound. Drive-through windows and ATMs streamline banking for both consumers and bankers. Smartphones allow people to snap pictures and send them instantaneously to others with similar phones, or to email accounts. At gasoline stations, customers put their credit cards into a slot and have no contact with, or work done by, anyone working for the gas station. In the case of ExxonMobil's SpeedPass, a transponder attached to a key tag or to a vehicle's rear window communicates with the pump via radio frequency signals. A similar technology is now used on most of the nation's toll roads. When the car pulls up, the pump is activated, and the correct amount is charged to the driver's credit card account. Of growing importance is the ability to pay for things via the cell phone. Even religion has been streamlined with drive-in churches and televised religious programs. Christian bookstores are stocked with how-to books claiming to be able to teach us the 10 steps to spiritual maturity, or how to be a successful parent in 60 minutes. Search engines such as Google, Yahoo, and Bing now do a lot of the work that was formerly performed by computer users. In the early days of the Internet, getting the information one wanted was a difficult matter requiring a great deal of skill and knowledge of arcane computer programs. Now, all users need to do is access the search engine and type in the desired topic, and they are on their way. A process of de-skilling has taken place. Users no longer need to have many skills. They are now built into the system. More recently, folksonomies such as delicious, Flickr, YouTube, and Dig enable people to search efficiently using other users' tags. Tagging is a process whereby users attach short, usually one-word descriptions to things like photos on Flickr. If you wanted to find a Flickr picture of a clone riding a bike, you could type clown and bike, and all the photographs with those two tags would be displayed. The internet also renders such activities as political campaigning and medical symposia more efficient. Even more obviously, email is far more streamlined than snail mail. Instead of writing a letter, all that is needed are a few keystrokes. One is limited to 140 of them on Twitter. Better yet, if both you and the person you are emailing are simultaneously using the same internet chat service, for example, Google Talk, known as GChat, you can have a conversation online without any need to send even an email. A similar set of advantages has attracted people to e-cards for birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, and the like. Texting is not only an efficient method of communication, but has brought with it a great streamlining of speech among and between people. As a result, ever shorter ways of saying things are emerging, including such common shorthand as you are, lel adert later, and emoticons such as true, pup smile, and seput wink. Simplifying the product. Another way to increase efficiency is by simplifying products. For example, complex foods based on sophisticated recipes are, needless to say, not the norm at fast food restaurants. The staples of the industry are foods, e.g., hamburgers, slice of pizza, that require relatively few ingredients and are simple to prepare, serve, and eat. In fast food restaurants generally serve finger food, food that can be eaten without utensils. Many innovations over the years have greatly increased the number and types of finger foods available. The Egg Mess Muffin is an entire breakfast. Egg, Canadian bacon, English muffin, combined into a handy sandwich. Devouring such a sandwich is far more efficient than sitting down with a knife and fork and eating a plate full of eggs, bacon, and toast. The creation of the Chicken McNugget, perhaps the ultimate finger food, reflects the fact that chicken is pretty inefficient as far as McDonald's is concerned. The bones, gristle, and skin that are such a barrier to the efficient consumption of chicken have all been eliminated in the Chicken McNugget. Customers can pop the bite-sized morsels of fried chicken into their mouths, even as they drive. Were they able to, the mass purveyors of chicken would breed a more efficiently consumed chicken free of bones, gristle, and skin. Because it is completely encased in dough, McDonald's apple pie can be munched like a sandwich. McDonald's continues to experiment with new menu items. One that has been successful is the snack wrap. This is a classic McDonaldized food. For one thing, it is another form of finger food and can be eaten quickly and efficiently. For another, it uses ingredients already in McDonald's restaurants and used in other menu items. Breaded chicken strips, flour tortillas, shredded lettuce and cheese, and ranch sauce. The limited number of menu choices also contributes to efficiency in fast food restaurants. McDonald's does not serve egg rolls, and Taco Bell does not offer fried chicken. Advertisements like, "We do it your way" or "right away" imply that fast food chains happily accommodate special requests. But pity the consumer who has a special request in a fast food restaurant, because much of their efficiency stems from the fact that they virtually always do it one way. Their way. The last thing fast food restaurants want is to do it your way. customers with the temerity to ask for a less well-done burger or well-browned fries are likely to cool their heels for a long time waiting for such exotica. Few customers are willing to wait because, after all, it undermines the main advantages of going to a fast food restaurant. The idea behind what Henry Ford said long ago about cars has been extended to hamburgers. Any customer can have a car painted any color that he wants so long as it is black. Many products other than fast food have been simplified in the name of efficiency. AAMCO Transmissions works mainly on transmissions, and MIDA's muffler largely restricts itself to the installation of mufflers. H&R Block does millions of simple tax returns in its nearly 13,000 offices. Because it uses many part-time and seasonal employees and does not offer the full array of tax and financial services available from a CPA, it is undoubtedly not the best place to have complicated tax returns completed. McDentists may be relied on for simple dental procedures, but people would be ill-advised to have root canal work done there. Pearl Vision Centers offer eye examinations, but people should go to an eye doctor for any major vision problem. USA Today offers readers highly simplified news McNuggets. Putting customers to work, a final mechanism for increasing efficiency in a McDonaldizing world, is to put customers to work. As will be discussed in Chapter 7, consumers who also produce air work are called prosumers. Fast food customers perform many more unpaid tasks than those who dine at full-service restaurants. McDonald's came up with the slogan, "We do it all for you." In reality, at McDonald's, we edge the customers do it all for them. We stand in line, take the food to the table, dispose of the waste, and stack our trays. As labor costs rise and technology develops, the consumer often does more and more of the work. While it is efficient for the fast food restaurant to have consumers wait in line, waiting in line is inefficient for consumers. Is it efficient to order your own food rather than having a waiter do it? Or to bus your own paper, plastic, and styrofoam rather than having a busperson do it? The tendency to put customers to work was underscored by Steak and Shakes, nearly 500 restaurants in the United States. TV advertisements describing fast food restaurants as workerants. In contrast, Steak and Shake emphasizes its use of china plates and the fact that the food is actually served by a waitstaff. The salad bar is a classic example of putting the consumer to work. The customer buys an empty plate and then loads up on the array of vegetables and other foods available that day. Quickly seeing the merit in this system, many supermarkets installed their own, more elaborate salad bars. The salad lover can thus work as a salad chef at lunch hour in the fast food restaurant, and then do it all over again in the evening at the supermarket. The fast food restaurant and the supermarket achieve huge gains in efficiency because they need only a small number of employees to keep the various compartments well stocked. There is an all-you-can-eat restaurant chain, Souplantation, have called sweet tomatoes in some areas, with 1,000 outlets throughout the United States. Its main attraction is a lengthy salad bar, if really a kind of assembly line that customers encounter as they enter the restaurant. At lunch and dinner times, there are often long lines on both sides of the salad bar. In fact, at particularly busy times, the lines snake out the door and into the parking lot. As diners move slowly along the salad bar, they fill their plates with the desired foods. At the end of the salad bar are 2 cash registers, where those in each line pay for their food. Various other foods and desserts are available at counters in the restaurant, and after they have finished their salads, customers trek to them. Sometimes over and over again. In a number of fast food restaurants, including Fuddruckers, Sa 140 franchises, and Roy Rogers, consumers are expected to take a naked burger to the fixin' bar, to add lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and so on. The customers thus end up logging a few minutes a week as sandwich makers. At Burger King and most other fast food franchises, people must fill their own cups with ice and soft drinks, thereby spending a few moments as soda jerks. Similarly, customers serve themselves in the popular breakfast buffets at Shawnee's or the lunch buffets at Pizza Hut. As pointed out earlier, McDonald's is testing self-ordering kiosks in some restaurants that allow customers to use a touchscreen to place their food orders. They do what counter people at McDonald's currently do: find and touch the picture on the screen that matches the food being ordered. Also of note is the trend towards self-ordering food kiosks at gas station travel plazas, such as Sheetz and Wawa. One company that makes these kiosks for a wide variety of restaurants at airports, drive-thrus, and casinos is NextStep. It claims that these systems outperform humans by displaying attractive pictures of food and offering extras to entice the customer to purchase more food. Shopping also offers many examples of imposing work on the consumer. The old-time grocery store, where the clerk retrieved the needed items, has been replaced by the supermarket, where a shopper may put in several hours a week, working as a grocery clerk, seeking out wanted items and unwanted items during lengthy treks down seemingly endless aisles. Having obtained the groceries, the shopper then unloads the food at the checkout counter and, in some cases, even bags the groceries. Of course, some supermarket checkout stands now ask the customer to do the scanning, thereby eliminating the need for a checkout clerk. Such self-checkout terminals are increasing rapidly in the United States and throughout the world, and the number is expected to quadruple by 2014. The systems that allow customers to pay with credit cards eliminate the need for cashiers. The developer of one scanning system predicted that soon, service grocery technology could be as pervasive as the automatic cash machines used by bank customers. One customer, apparently a strong believer in McDonaldization, said of such a system, "It's quick, easy, and efficient. You get in and out in a hurry." But as an official with a union representing supermarket clerks put it, to say it's more convenient for the customer is turning the world upside down. In general, making customers do the work for themselves is not customer service. Virtually gone are gas station attendants who fill gas tanks, check the oil, and clean windows. People now put in a few minutes a week as unpaid attendants. Although one might think that eliminating the gas station attendant leads to lower gasoline prices. And indeed it does in the short run. A comparison of gas prices at stations with and without attendants shows little difference in price. In the end, the gasoline companies and service station owners simply found another way to force the consumer to do the work employees once had to be paid to perform. In some doctors' offices, patients must now weigh themselves and take their own temperatures. More important, patients have been put to work in the medical world through the use of an increasingly wide array of do-it-yourself medical tests. Two basic types are available: monitoring instruments and diagnostic devices. Monitoring devices include blood pressure monitors and glucose and cholesterol meters, as well as at-home kits marketed to parents to allow them to test their children for marijuana, heroin, and so on. Among the diagnostic tests are pregnancy detectors, ovulation predictors, HIV test kits, and fecal occult blood detectors. Thus, patients are now being asked to familiarize themselves with technologies that were formerly the exclusive province of physicians, nurses, or trained technicians. In addition, patients are being asked to provide samples of bodily fluids, blood, urine, or byproducts of fecal matter that were once handled very carefully by professional medical people. But in an era of high medical costs, it is cheaper and more efficient at no unnecessary trips to the doctor's office or to the lab for patients to monitor and test themselves. Such home testing may identify problems that otherwise might not be discovered, but it can also lead to unnecessary worry, especially in the case of false positive results. In either case, many of us are now working, at least part-time, as unpaid medical technicians. The automated teller machine, as ATM, in the banking industry allows everyone to work, for at least a few moments, as an unpaid bank teller, SIN, and often pay fees for the privilege. To encourage the use of ATMs, some banks have begun charging a fee for using human tellers. When a receiver fails, DSH network mails its customers a new one as a replacement. The customer is expected to return the defective one in the same box that contained the new one. More important, it is up to the consumer to install the new receiver. There is, of course, help available by phone if necessary. And it is necessary. DSH will send someone to install the new receiver, but the time delay involved and the relatively high cost discourage most customers from taking this option. When calling many businesses these days, instead of dealing with a human operator, people must push a bewildering sequence of numbers and codes before they get, they hope, the desired extension. Here is the way one humorist describes such a conversation and the work involved for the caller. The party you are trying to reach, Thomas Watson, is unavailable at this time. To leave a message, please wait for the beep. To review your message, press 7. To change your message after reviewing it, press 4. To add to your message, press 5. To reach another party, press the star sign and enter the 4-digit extension. To listen to music, press 23. To transfer out of phone mail, in what I promise you will be a futile effort to reach a human, press 0. Because we treat you like one. Instead of being interviewed by the government census taker, people usually receive a questionnaire, a one that is supposedly self-explanatory, in the mail to fill out on their own. The self-response rate for occupied housing units was 74% in the 2010 census. Census takers were used about a quarter of the time to obtain the information. And even then they were deployed only after residents failed to respond to the mailed questionnaire. The ubiquity of all of these seemingly trivial activities means that the modern consumer spends an increasingly significant amount of time and energy doing unpaid labor. Although organizations are realizing greater efficiencies, customers are thus often sacrificing convenience and efficiency. Calculability. Big Macs and little chips. McDonaldization also involves calculability, calculating, counting, quantifying many different things. Quantity tends to become a surrogate for quality. Numerical standards are set for both processes of production, for example, and end results, goods, for example. In terms of processes, the emphasis is on speed, usually high, whereas for end results, The focus is on the number of products produced and served or on their size, usually larger. This calculability has a number of positive consequences, the most important being the ability to produce and obtain large amounts of things very rapidly. Customers in fast food restaurants get a lot of food quickly. Managers and owners get a great deal of work from their employees, and the work is done speedily. However, the emphasis on quantity tends to affect adversely the quality of both the process and the result. For customers, calculability often means eating on the run, hardly a quality dining experience, and consuming food that is almost always mediocre. For employees, calculability often means obtaining little or no personal meaning from their work. Therefore, the work, products, and services suffer. Calculability is intertwined with the other dimensions of McDonaldization. For instance, calculability makes it easier to determine efficiency. That is, those steps that take the least time are usually considered the most efficient. Once quantified, products and processes become more predictable because the same amounts of materials or time are used from one place or time period to another. Quantification is also linked to control, particularly to the creation of non-human technologies that perform tasks in a given amount of time or make products of a given weight or size. Calculability is clearly linked to irrationality since, among other things, the emphasis on quantity tends to affect quality adversely. Crucial to any discussion of calculability in contemporary society is the impact of the computer. The proliferation of personal computers allows more of us to do more calculations with increasing speed. Many aspects of today's quantity-oriented society could not exist, or would need to be greatly modified, were it not for the modern computer. Although society undoubtedly was already moving toward increased calculability before computer technology advanced to its current level, computers have greatly expedited and extended that tendency, emphasizing quantity rather than quality of products. McDonald's has always emphasized bigness. It and the other fast food chains have a bigger is better mentality. For a long time, the most visible symbols of this emphasis were the large signs, usually beneath the even larger golden arches, toting the millions and, later, billions of hamburgers sold by McDonald's. This was a rather heavy-handed way of letting everyone know about McDonald's great success. With the wide-scale recognition of their success in recent years, there is less need for McDonald's to be so obvious. Hence the decline of such signs and the decrease in the size of the golden arches. Public protests against the size of the golden arches have also played a role in this. The mounting number of hamburgers sold not only indicated to potential customers that the chain was successful, but also fostered that the quality of the burgers accounted at the high of the notion for the immense sales. Hence, quantity appeared to equal quality. The fast food industry of big bites and super big gulps. The emphasis on quantity is abundantly clear in the names of McDonald's offerings. The best-known example is the Big Mac. A large burger is considered desirable simply because consumers thus receive a large serving. Furthermore, consumers are led to believe that they are getting a great deal of food for a small price. Calculating consumers come away with the feeling that they are getting a good deal, and maybe even getting the best of McDonald's. Many other fast food restaurants mirror the emphasis by McDonald's on quantity. Burger King points out the quantity of meat in the Whopper, the Double Whopper, and even the triple whopper. So Burger King's fish sandwiches, big fish. Not to be outdone, Jack in the Box has its really big chicken. Hardee's offers a monster thick burger, eat 2/3 of a pound. Kentucky Fried Chicken has a variety big box meal, and double down, in no bun, but 2 pieces of fried chicken, 2 pieces of bacon, and 2 pieces of cheese. And Taco Bell offers the Big Bell box meal with a ½ pound of beans and rice. Similarly, 7-Eleven proffers its customers a hot dog called the Big Bite and a large soft drink called the Big Gulp, the even larger Super Big Gulp, and the still larger Double Gulp. Burger King also offers BK Stackers. The idea is that people can supersize their hamburger sandwich to include up to 3 hamburger patties, 2 cheese slices, and 3 half slices of bacon. In one advertisement, the foreman at the BK Stacker factory is shown yelling, "More meat," to workers struggling to produce a bigger burger. Of the product, Burger King says, "It's the flame broiled meat lover's burger, and it's here to stay. No veggies allowed." A meat lover who maximizes the stacker will consume about 650 calories, and the triple whopper has 140 calories. 20 milligrams of sodium, the triple whopper has a bit more, and about half of a day's allowance of saturated fat. Not to be outdone, Carl's Jr. has several varieties of its highly successful $6 burger. A Hardee's has a $6 thick burger, although the double $6 burger, with about 75% of a day's suggested intake of calories. What does one do about eating for the rest of the day? Apparently went too far and was dropped. Then there is Denny's well-known Grand Slam breakfasts. The emphasis is on not only the size of the meal, but its low price. This is clear in one commercial in which a man proclaims, "I'm going to eat too much, but I'm never going to pay too much." Of course, he and other consumers of Grand Slam breakfasts are likely to pay in the long run with their health, since it has many calories and large amounts of fat and sodium. For years, McDonald's offered a super-size fries, 20% larger than a large order, and customers were urged to supersize their meals. However, the uproar over Morgan Spurlock's documentary, Supersize Me, led McDonald's to drop the term, although it continues to offer menu items that emphasize large size. However, McDonald's continues to lag behind Hardee's and Carl's Jr., which are already offering half-pound burgers. Interestingly, the controversy over large sizes has led some fast food restaurants to offer smaller portions of some menu items, although the emphasis is still on size rather than quality. Examples include Burger King's BK Mini Burgers and Jack in the Box's Junior Bacon Cheeseburger. In this context, it is hard to know what to make of Hardee's Little Thick Cheeseburger. It is both little and big. All this emphasis on quantity suggests that fast food restaurants have little interest in communicating anything directly about quality. Were they interested, they might give their products names such as Metasty, Delicious, or Prime. But the fact is that typical McDonald's customers know they are not getting the highest quality food. No one knows exactly what's in those hamburger patties. Let's face it, nobody thinks about what's between the bun at McDonald's. You buy, you eat, you toss the trash, and you're out of there like the Lone Ranger. Another observer has argued that people not go to McDonald's for a delicious, pleasurable meal but rather to refuel. McDonald's is a place to fill our stomachs with lots of calories and carbohydrates so that we can move on to the next rationally organized activity. Eating to refuel is far more efficient than eating to enjoy a culinary experience. The propensity for fast food restaurants to minimize quality is well reflected in the sad history of Colonel Harlan Sanders, the founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken. The quality of his cooking techniques and his secret seasoning, which his wife originally mixed-packed and shipped herself, led to a string of about 400 franchised outlets by 1960. Sanders had a great commitment to quality, especially to his gravy. To Sanders himself, the supreme stuff of his art was his gravy. The blend of herbs and spices that time and patience had taught him. It was his ambition to make a gravy so good that people would simply eat the gravy and throw away the darned chicken. Their commitment to speed rather than quality. The Colonel's gravy was fantastic, they agreed. But it was too complex, too time-consuming, too expensive. It had to be changed. It wasn't fast food. That friggin' outfit. They prostituted every goddamn thing I had. I had the greatest gravy in the world, and those sons of bitches, they dragged it out and extended it and watered it down that I'm so goddamn mad. At best, what customers expect from a fast food restaurant is modest but strong-tasting food. Hence, the salty, sweet French fries, highly seasoned sauces, and saccharine shakes. Given such modest expectations of quality, customers do, however, have greater expectations of quantity. They expect to get a lot of food and to pay relatively little for it. Or at least think they are getting a bargain. Even the more upscale McDonaldized restaurant chains are noted for the size of their portions and the mediocrity of their food. Of the Olive Garden, one reviewer said, "But what brings customers in droves to this popular chain remains a mystery." The food defined mediocrity. Nothing was bad, but nothing was especially good, and it certainly isn't authentically Italian. Of course, the reason is quantity. Portions are large. So you'll probably end up leaving stuffed, which is not to say satisfied. The Cheesecake Factory, begun in Beverly Hills in 1978 and now with nearly 150 restaurants, is another example of an upscale restaurant known for its huge portions, although many devotees consider its food to be higher in quality than, say, Olive Garden. Quantity is also in evidence in the menu, which contains over 200 highly varied items. The cost of a meal at Cheesecake Factory is considered low for the quantity of food one consumes. Higher education. Grades, scores, ratings, and rankings in education. Most college courses run for a standard number of weeks and hours per week. Little attention is devoted to determining whether a given subject is best taught in a given number of weeks or hours per week. The focus seems to be on how many students, products, can be herded through the system and what grades they earn rather than the quality of what they have learned and of the educational experience. An entire high school or college experience can be summed up in a single number, the grade point average, a GPA. Armed with their GPAs, students can take examinations with quantifiable results, such as the MC8, LSA SAT, and GRE. Colleges, graduate schools, and professional schools can thus focus on 3 or 4 numbers in deciding whether or not to admit a student. For their part, students may choose a university because of its rating. Is it one of the top 10 universities in the country? Is its physics department in the top 10? Are its sports teams usually top-ranked? Most important, is it one of the top 10 party schools? The increasing success of online universities is traceable to various quantitative factors. For one thing, courses are far less expensive than attending four-year residential colleges, and credits can often be transferred to traditional colleges. For example, in one case, a student paid $750 for 7 credits that would have cost $2,800 at a nearby college. In another, a master's degree in healthcare management from online Western Governors University cost only 9,000 RAR rather than the approximately 4,000 it would have cost at a traditional university. At the online company Straighterline, which has had more than 1,000 students, it costs $99 to register for a month, plus $39 a course, or a full freshman year for $9.99. Potential employers may decide whether to hire graduates on the basis of their scores, their class ranking, and the ranking of the university from which they graduated. To increase their job prospects, students may seek to amass a number of different degrees and credentials with the hope that prospective employers will believe that the longer the list of degrees, the higher the quality of the job candidate. Personal letters of reference, however important, are often replaced by standardized forms with quantified ratings. And for example, top 5% of the class ranks 5th in a class of 2-5. The number of credentials a person possesses plays a role in situations other than obtaining a job. For example, people in various occupations can use long lists of initials after their names to convince prospective clients of their competence. So my BA, MBA, and PhD are supposed to persuade the reader that I am competent to write this book, although a degree in behaviorology might be more relevant. Said one insurance appraiser with ASA, FSVA, FEST, CRA, and CRE after his name. The more air initials you tend to put after your name, the more impressed your potential clients had become. The sheer number of credentials, however, tells little about the competence of the person sporting them. Furthermore, this emphasis on quantity of credentials has led people to make creative use of letters after their names. For example, one camp director put ABD after his name to impress parents of prospective campers. As all academics know, this informal and largely negative label stands for all but dissertation, and is the label for people who have completed their graduate courses and exams, but who have not written their dissertations. Also noteworthy here is the development of organizations whose sole reason for existence is to supply meaningless credentials, often through the mail. The emphasis on quantifiable factors is common even among college professors of the workers, if students are products. For example, at more and more colleges and universities, the students evaluate each course by answering questions with ratings of, for example, 1 to 5. At the end of the semester, the professor receives what is in effect a report card with an overall teaching rating. Students have little or no room to offer qualitative evaluations of their teachers on such questionnaires. Although student ratings are desirable in a number of ways, they also have some unfortunate consequences. For example, they tend to favor professors who are performers, who have a sense of humor, or who do not demand too much from students. The serious professor who places great demands on students is not likely to do well in such rating systems, even though he or she may offer higher quality teaching, for example, more profound ideas than does the performer. Quantitative factors are important not only in teaching, but also in research and publication. The publish or perish Pressure on academicians in many colleges and universities leads to greater attention to the quantity of their publications than to the quality. In hiring and promotion decisions, a resume with a long list of articles and books is generally preferred to one with a shorter list. Thus, an award-winning teacher was turned down for tenure at Rutgers University because, in the words of his department's tenure committee, his stack of publications was not as thick as the usual packet for tenure. The unfortunate consequence of this bias is publication of less than high-quality works. The rush to publication before a work is fully developed, or publication of the same idea or finding several times with only minor variations. Another quantitative factor in academia is the ranking of the outlet in which a work is published. In the hard sciences, articles in professional journals receive high marks. Books are less valued. In the humanities, books are of much higher value and sometimes more prestigious than journal articles. Being published by some publishers, if, for example, university presses yields more prestige than being published by others, as, for example, commercial presses. In sociology, for example, a formal ratings system assigns points for publication in professional journals. A publication in the prestigious American Sociological Review receives 10 points, the maximum in this system, but the far less prestigious S. and, in order not to hurt anyone's feelings, fictional Antarctic Journal of Sociology, with a readership primarily composed of penguins, receives only 1 point. By this system, the professor whose journal publications yield 340 points is supposed to be twice as good as one who earns only 170 points. However, as is usually the case, such an emphasis on quantity tends not to relate to quality. It is highly unlikely that the quality of a professor's life's work can be reduced to a single number. In fact, it seems impossible to quantify the quality of an idea, theory, or research finding. This rating system deals only indirectly with quality. That is, the rating is based on the quality of the journal in which an article was published, not the quality of the article itself. No effort is made to evaluate the quality of the article or its contribution to the field. Poor articles can appear in the highest-ranking journals, excellent ones in low-ranking journals. The academician who writes only a few high-quality papers might not do well in this rating system. In contrast, someone who produces a lot of mediocre work could well receive a far higher score. This kind of system leads ambitious sociologists and those in most other academic fields to conclude that they cannot afford to spend years honing a single work because it will not pay off in their point score. Any system that places so much emphasis on quantity of publications will lead to the production of a great deal of mediocre work. The sciences have come up with another quantifiable measure in an effort to evaluate the quality of work, the number of times a person's work is cited in the work of other scholars. In many fields, Google Scholar is used, and it relies heavily on such citation counts. In fact, Google now has a citations gadget to allow one to get an instantaneous citation count for virtually any scholar. The assumption is that high quality, important, and influential work is likely to be used and cited by other scholars. However, once again, the problem of evaluating quality arises. Can the influence of a person's academic work be reduced to a single number? Perhaps a few central uses of one scholar's ideas will influence the field more than many trivial citations of another scholar's work. Furthermore, The mere fact that a work is cited tells us nothing about how that work was used by other scholars. A worthless piece of work attacked by many people, and thereby cited in their work, would lead to many citations for its creator. Conversely, scholars may ignore a truly important piece of work that is ahead of its time, leading to a minuscule number of citations for the author. Google has tried to deal with this problem by, not surprisingly, coming up with another number, its H-index, which measures both number of publications and citations per publication. When he was president of Stanford University, Donald Kennedy announced a change in that university's policies for hiring, promoting, or granting tenure to faculty members. Disturbed by a report indicating that nearly half of faculty members believe that their scholarly writings are merely counted and not evaluated when personnel decisions are made, Kennedy said, "I hope we can agree that the quantitative use of research output as a criterion for appointment or promotion is a bankrupt idea." The overproduction of routine scholarship is one of the most egregious aspects of contemporary academic life. It tends to conceal really important work by sheer volume. To deal with this problem, Kennedy proposed to limit the extent to which the number of publications would be used in making personnel decisions. He hoped that the proposed limits would reverse the appalling belief that counting and weighing are the important means of evaluating faculty research. Despite protestations like this one, there is little evidence that there has been much progress in reducing the emphasis on quantity rather than quality in the academic world. In fact, in recent years, there has been a massive increase in the emphasis on quantitative factors in the British academic world. League tables of universities are now produced grading research and teaching, as well as increased access by non-participating groups at ethnic minorities, working class students. These make the system subject to quantitative, rather than the previous qualitative evaluations and therefore clearly calculable. Healthcare patients as dollar signs in profit, making medical organizations. The largest is HCA, Hospital Corporation of America. Physicians, along with all other employees, feel pressured to contribute to the corporation's profitability. Limiting the time with each patient and maximizing the number of patients seen in a day allow the corporation to reduce costs and increase profits. This emphasis on quantity can easily threaten the quality of medical care. Profits can also be increased by pushing doctors to turn down patients who probably can't pay the bills and to see only patients who have the kinds of diseases whose treatment is likely to yield large profits. Following the lead of profit, making medical organizations, all medical bureaucracies are now pushing medicine in the direction of greater calculability. Even nonprofit medical organizations, for example nonprofit hospitals and health maintenance organizations, HMOs, although most HMOs are for profit. So perhaps a better example would be a local clinic. Increasingly employ professional managers and have sophisticated accounting systems. The federal government, through Medicare, introduced the prospective payment and DRG, diagnostic-related groups programs, in which a set amount is reimbursed to hospitals for a given medical diagnosis, no matter how long the patient is hospitalized. Prior to 1983, the government paid whatever reasonable amount it was billed. Outside agencies have also grown increasingly concerned about spiraling medical costs and have sought to deal with the problem by limiting what they will pay for and how much they will pay for it. A third-party payer, an insurer, might thus refuse to pay for certain procedures or for hospitalization, or perhaps pay only a given amount. Doctors, who have traditionally placed quality of patient care above all else, at least ideally, often complain about the new emphasis on calculability. At least one physicians' union engaged in a strike centered on issues such as the required number of visits, number of patients seen, and an incentive system tying physician salaries to productivity. As one physician union leader put it, however romantically, doctors are the only ones who think of patients as individuals, not as dollar signs. Sports. Nadia Comaneci scored exactly 79.275 points. The quality of various sports has been altered by, perhaps even sacrificed to, calculability. For instance, the nature of sporting events has been changed by the needs of television. Because teams in many sports earn a large part of their revenue from television contracts, they will sacrifice the interests of paid spectators, even compromise the games themselves, to increase their television income. A good example is the so-called TV timeout. In the old days, commercials occurred during natural breaks in a game. For example, during a timeout called by one of the teams, at halftime, or between innings. But these breaks were too intermittent and infrequent to bring in the increasingly large fees advertisers were willing to pay. Now regular TV timeouts are scheduled in sports such as football and basketball. The owners of sports franchises may be maximizing their incomes from advertising, but the momentum of a team may be lost because of an inopportune TV timeout. These timeouts not only alter the nature of some sports, but may even affect the outcome of games. Also, these timeouts interrupt the flow of the game for the fans who watch in person and pay high ticket prices for the privilege. The fans at home can at least watch the commercials. The spectators at the games have little to watch until the commercial ends and the game resumes. But the owners consider such negative effects on the quality of the game insignificant compared with the economic gain from increased advertising. Clearly, though, sports continue to place a premium on the quality of both individual and team performance. For instance, the offensive skills of basketball stars Kobe Bryant and LeBron James, and the teamwork of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who won the 2009 Super Bowl. At the same time, quantitative factors have always been enormously important in sports. In many cases, quality is directly related to quantity. The better the performance, the higher the score, and the greater the number of victories. Over the years, however, the emphasis on the quantifiable attributes of sports has increased. Modern sports are characterized by the almost inevitable tendency to transform every athletic feat into one that can be quantified and measured. The accumulation of statistics on every conceivable aspect of the game is a hallmark of football, baseball, hockey, and track and field too, where the accuracy of quantification has, thanks to an increasingly precise technology, reached a degree that makes the stopwatch seem positively primitive. Even a highly aesthetic sport, such as gymnastics, has been quantified. How can one rationalize and quantify a competition in gymnastics, in aesthetics? Set up an interval scale and a panel of judges, and then take the arithmetic mean of the subjective evaluations. Nadia Comaneci, an Olympic champion in gymnastics, scored exactly 79.75 points, neither more nor less. The growing emphasis on quantity can sometimes adversely affect the quality of play in a sport. For example, A basketball star motivated by a need to stand out individually and score as many points as possible may negatively affect the play of individual teammates and the team's overall performance. The quality of play is even more compromised by owners' attempts to maximize points scored. Basketball was once a rather leisurely game in which a team could take as long as necessary to bring the ball down the court and get a player into position to take a good shot. Basketball fans enjoyed the strategies and maneuvers employed by the players. Toward the end of the game, a team holding a slim lead could attempt to freeze the ball. That is, not risk missing a shot and thereby giving their opponents a chance to take possession of the ball. Several decades ago, however, the leadership of collegiate and professional basketball decided that fans raised in the McDonald's era wanted to see faster games and many more points scored. In other words, fans wanted from basketball what they got from their fast food restaurant: great speed and large quantities. Hence, in college games, offensive teams were limited to 35 seconds in which to attempt a shot. In professional games, 24-second time clocks were established. Although the run and shoot style of play generated by the time clocks has created faster paced, higher-scoring games, it may have adversely affected the quality of play. No longer is there much time for the maneuvers and strategies that made the game so interesting to purists. But a run-and-shoot style of basketball fits in well with the McDonaldized heat and move world of dinners purchased at drive-through windows and consumed on the run. In recent years, however, professional basketball teams have developed interesting new defensive strategies, and the scores of games have plummeted. There is now interest in making further changes in the game to reduce the advantages of the defensive team and, thereby, once again inflate the scores. Similarly, baseball owners decided long ago that fans prefer to see high-scoring games with lots of hits, home runs, and runs scored rather than the kind of game favored by purists. Pitchers' duels in which the final score might be 1-0. They took a number of steps to increase the number of runs scored. Livelier baseballs travel farther than old-fashioned dead balls. In some baseball parks, such as the new Yankee Stadium, opened in 2009, outfield fences have been brought closer to home plate to increase the number of home runs. The designated hitter, found in the American League, but not in the more traditional National League, is the most important effort to increase hits and runs. Instead of the often weak, hitting pitcher taking his turn at bat, someone whose main zen, and sometimes only skill, is batting replaces him. Designated hitters get more hits, hit more home runs, and help produce more runs than pitchers who are allowed to bat. Although use of the designated hitter in American League, baseball has undoubtedly increased the number of runs scored. It has also affected, perhaps adversely, the quality of the game, which is why the National League has steadfastly refused to adopt the designated hitter. For example, when pitchers bat in certain situations, they often employ a sacrifice bunt, a very artful practice intended to advance a runner already on base. But a designated hitter rarely sacrifices an at-bat by bunting. In addition, pinch hitters play less of a role when designated hitters replace weak hitting pitchers. Finally, if there is less need to pinch hit for them, starting pitchers can remain in games longer, which reduces the need for relief pitchers. In these and other ways, baseball is a different game when a designated hitter is employed. In other words, The quality of the game has changed, some would say for the worse, because of the emphasis on quantity. The term, extreme, has been associated with all sorts of things, such as food or 7-Eleven's Extreme Gulp, Denny's, Extreme Grand Slam Breakfast, candy, and breath mints, although most typically with an array of sports activities. These include extreme snowboarding, skateboarding, BMX riding, and even bowling. The use of this term implies that these sports offer something more than their traditional versions. Usually, the more translates into that which is faster, riskier, more innovative, more creative, and more outrageous. Most generally, extreme sports are associated with that which is more nonconformist, more daredevilish, and, in a word, cooler than traditional sports. Politics. There were no sound bites in the Lincoln-Douglas debate. The political sector offers a number of revealing examples of the emphasis on calculability. For example, the increasing importance of polls in political campaigns. Candidates and incumbents, obsessed with their ratings in political polls, often adjust their positions on issues or the actions they take based on what pollsters say will increase, or at least not lower, their rankings. How a specific political position affects ratings can become more important than whether the politician genuinely believes in it. Television has affected politics in various ways. It has led to shorter conventions, as well as shorter political speeches. In the famous Lincoln-Douglas debates of 1858, the candidates spoke for 90 minutes each on a single topic: the future of slavery in the territories. Prior to television, political speeches on radio at first often lasted an hour. By the 1940s, the norm had dropped to 30 minutes. In the early years of television, speeches also lasted about half an hour. But because political campaign speeches became more tailored to television coverage and less to the immediate audience, speeches have grown shorter, averaging less than 20 minutes. By the 1970s, speeches had been largely replaced by the 60-second advertisement. In today's televised presidential debates, candidates have a minute or two to offer their position on a given issue. News reports of political speeches have shrunk to fit the visual demands of television as well. By the 1984 presidential campaign, only about 15 seconds of a speech would likely find its way onto a national news program. 4 years later, speaking time on such reports shrank to only 9 seconds. As a result, political speechwriters concentrate on creating 5 or 10-second sound bites that are likely to be picked up by the national networks. This emphasis on length has clearly reduced the quality of public political speeches, and therefore, the quality of public discourse on important political issues. However, YouTube is countering this trend. Barack Obama won the presidency in 2008 partly because of his savvy use of Web 2.0 technologies. YouTube allowed him to stream more content in much more depth on the web, with millions of people viewing. For example, his famous speech on Race Online, reducing production and service to numbers. The emphasis on the number of sales made and the size of the products offered are not the only manifestations of calculability in fast food restaurants. The fast food industry hustle and a pre-cooked hamburger measures exactly 3.875 inches. Another example is the great emphasis on the speed with which a meal can be served. Ray Kroc's first outlet was named McDonald's Speedy Service Drive-In. At one time, McDonald's sought to serve a hamburger, shake, and French fries in 50 seconds. The restaurant made a great breakthrough in 1959 when it served a record 36 hamburgers in under 10 seconds. Many other fast food restaurants have adopted McDonald's zeal for speed. Burger King, for example, seeks to serve a customer within 3 minutes of entering the restaurant. The drive-through window drastically reduces the time required to process a customer through a fast food restaurant. Speed is obviously a quantifiable factor of monumental importance in a fast food restaurant. Speed is even more important to the pizza delivery business. At Domino's, the mantra is hustle. Do it, hustle. Do it, hustle. Do it. And the goal is height minutes out the door. Not only does the number sold depend on how quickly the pizzas can be delivered, but a fresh pizza must be transported quickly to arrive hot. Special insulated containers now help keep the pizzas hot longer. This emphasis on rapid delivery has caused several scandals. However, pressure to make fast deliveries has led young delivery people to become involved in serious and sometimes fatal automobile accidents. Still, another aspect of the emphasis on quantity lies in the precision with which every element in the production of fast food is measured. At frozen yogurt franchises, containers are often weighed to ensure they include the correct quantity of frozen yogurt, whereas in old-fashioned ice cream parlors, the attendants simply filled a container to the brim. McDonald's takes great care in ensuring that each raw hamburger weighs exactly 1.6 ounces. 10 hamburgers to a pound of meat. The pre-cooked hamburger measures precisely 3.8 on 75 inches in diameter, and the bun exactly 3.5 inches. McDonald's invented the fatalizer to ensure that its regular hamburger meat had no more than 19% fat. Greater fat content would lead to greater shrinkage during cooking and prevent the hamburger from appearing too large for the bun. Grilling 8 hamburger patties at a time takes 38 seconds. The French fries scoop ensures that each package has about the same number of fries. The automatic drink dispensers ensure that each cup gets the correct amount of soft drink, with nothing lost to spillage. The average cash register transaction takes 12 seconds. Arby's has reduced the cooking and serving of roast beef to a series of exact measurements. All roasts weigh 10 pounds at the start. They are roasted at 200 by F for 3.5 hours until the internal temperature is 135 Ref. They are then allowed to cook in their own heat for 20 minutes more until the internal temperature is 140 Ref. By following these steps and making these measurements, Arby's doesn't need a skilled chef. Virtually anyone who can read and count can cook an Arby's roast beef. When the roasts are done, each weighs between 9 pounds, 4 ounces, and 9 pounds, 7 ounces. Every roast beef sandwich contains 3 ounces of meat, allowing Arby's to get 47 sandwiches, give or take one from each roast. Burger King has also quantified quality control. Hamburgers must be served within 10 minutes of being cooked. French fries may stand under the heat lamp for no more than 7 minutes. A manager is allowed to throw away 0.3% of all food. The performance of fast food restaurants is also assessed quantitatively, not qualitatively. At McDonald's, for example, central management judges the performance of each restaurant by the numbers: sales per crew person, profits, turnover and quality, service and cleanliness, IKEAization ratings. While the fast food restaurant has greatly increased the emphasis on calculability, it had many precursors, including the original Boston Cooking School Cookbook, 1896, in which Fanny Farmer emphasized precise measurement and, in the process, helped rationalize home cooking. She changed American kitchen terminology from a pinch and a dash and a heaping spoonful to her own precise, standardized scientific terms, presenting a model of cooking that was easy, reliable, and could be followed even by inexperienced cooks. For those who overate on food based on fancy farmer recipes, or more likely these days on fast food, there are the exercise chains built on a similar emphasis on quantification. The success of curves is based on offering a simple set of machine-based exercises that can be completed in just 30 minutes. The workplace. A penny the size of a cartwheel. With scientific management, Taylor intended to transform everything work-related into quantifiable dimensions. Instead of relying on the worker's rule of thumb, scientific management sought to develop precise measurements of how much work was to be done by each and every motion of the worker. Everything that could be reduced to numbers was then analyzed using mathematical formulas. Calculability was clearly an aim when Taylor sought to increase the amount of pig iron a worker could load in a day. We found that this gang were loading on the average about 12 long tons per man per day. We were surprised to find, after studying the matter, that a first-class pig iron handler ought to handle between 47 and 48 long tons per day, instead of 125 tons. To try to nearly quadruple the workload, Taylor studied the way the most productive workers, the first-class men, operated. He divided their work into its basic elements and timed each step with a stopwatch, down to hundredths of a minute. On the basis of this careful study, Taylor and his associates developed the one best way to carry pig iron. They then found a worker they could motivate to work this way. Schmidt, who was able and ambitious, and to whom, as one coworker said, a penny looked to be about the size of a cartwheel, Schmidt indicated that he wanted to be a high-priced man. Taylor used a precise economic incentive, raw 1.85 per day, rather than the usual 1.15, if Schmidt agreed to work exactly the way Taylor told him to. After careful training and supervision, Schmidt successfully worked at the faster pace and earned the higher pay. Taylor then selected and trained other employees to work the same way. Schmidt and his successors, of course, were being asked to do about 3.6 times the normal amount of work for an approximately 60% increase in pay. For Taylor, the pig iron handler with his 60% increase in wages is not an object for pity, but rather a subject for congratulations. Also illustrative of the impact of calculability on industry is the famous case of the Ford Pinto. Because of competition from manufacturers of small foreign cars, Ford rushed the Pinto into production, even though pre-production tests had indicated that its fuel system would rupture easily in a rear-end collision. The expensive assembly line machinery for the Pinto was already in place, so Ford decided to go ahead with the production of the car without any changes. Ford based its decision on a quantitative comparison. The company estimated that the defects would lead to 180 deaths and about the same number of injuries, placing a value, or rather a cost, on them of $200,000 per person. Ford decided that the total cost from these deaths and injuries would be less than the $11 per car it would cost to repair the defect. Although this calculation may have made sense from the point of view of profits, it was an unreasonable decision in that human lives were sacrificed and people were maimed in the name of lower costs and higher profits. This example is only one of the more extreme of a number of such decisions made daily in a society undergoing McDonaldization.